Hi, welcome to the channel. Today's video we're going to take a quick look at the OEX Bush Pro Salamander Bivi. Now it is a single skin, single pole, but I would say it's a structured bivy because it has got tiny little poles into the materials in the front and the back to give the bivy a bit more structure. In this video we're going to cover the basic specs of the tent, how easy it is to pitch in a space and just have a good look around it, and obviously then we'll take it out for a wild camp in due course. Obviously OEX are a Go Outdoors own brand, so this is going to have a retail price that's completely unrealistic. So the retail price is £260, but the members price, if you've got the £5 Go Outdoors membership card, is £115, and obviously sometimes you will find that discounted. For those of you that watch the channel regularly, you can probably guess I didn't buy this brand new. I got this on Facebook Marketplace for £35, so a really good deal because first impressions, it looks in really good condition. Now this is something I've been looking at for quite a while because they do crop up on Facebook and eBay quite regularly, and they do tend to go for a fraction of the price that they do new. So you could be looking to spend around £35 to £60 on one of these in really good condition second hand, and the chances are with this kind of tent, people buy them because they like the idea of being lightweight, really compact, small pack size and stuff, but then perhaps when they've had a camp in it, it's not for them. They don't like the single skin, maybe the condensation bothers them, so it's going to go up for sale. It's going to go up for sale with very little money, and it's going to have had almost zero use, so it is a really good used buy. You can see it packs down pretty small, weighs in at 1.24 kilos, does come in its own bag, but you could take the pole out, store that separately in your backpack, and you could probably compact this down further in a dry bag. So if you were going to go light and fast, you probably would do that. In the bag you get a standard set of aluminium pegs, seem reasonably good quality, reasonably lightweight, but again if you're going to go for as light as possible you could upgrade them, but you're not going to save a massive amount of weight by doing that. It's got a single 7.9mm OEX Endura aluminium pole, and you can see that is pre-shaped to form the hoop of the bivy. In terms of materials, you've got a nylon fly sheet, 5000mm hydrostatic head, and you've also got a nylon ground sheet with a 7000mm hydrostatic head. So really well spec'd, and the materials do feel pretty robust. So this is not going to be an ultra lightweight bivy because the materials are really waterproof and should be really robust, so you should be able to pitch without having to use a ground sheet, which of course you don't want to be taking a ground sheet if you're going on travelling fast and light of a small bivy. One feature I like, which adds a tiny bit of weight to it, is the little poles on each corner. So they just help to give it a bit more structure and shape and extend the bathtub floor. It's not perfect on this ground because the grass is way too long really, but you can see on a level pitch that's going to be a really nice little feature. And the rear of the tent, a much more substantial pole built into either side. So again, because it's already sewn in, you don't have to worry about that. It still pitches really quickly, but it gives you a bit of extra height at the bottom and really does extend that bathtub floor up nice and high. You've then got two little mini going out points linked to the back sheet, and that's because underneath there you've got a nice vent to let some air flow through the tent. The way the bivy is designed is that you can have the top sealed down to keep the rain out, but you see this is actually the material attaches here, and along here you have an inner zip and you have a vented piece, so the rain is going to come off the side there and airflow is going to be able to get through this vented bit, and obviously you've got that vent at the back as well so the air can flow through, so you don't have to worry about suffocation because you've got that additional bit there. And there are a couple of little hooks at the front where you can just hook it down as well. If the wind was changing in the night and was blowing front on, you can just pick that down just to give it a bit of added security. And you can see there, that is the vent that runs all the way around to give you some airflow right where your head's going to be. So you can see that all of the tent is completely seam sealed, and the seam sealing does look really neat, and this does feel like a really good waterproof material. And you can see that there's a double zip inside, so if the weather is nice you can just zip up the mesh to keep all the bugs out, and then have a nice you can just tie this back as well at the top here, tighten that a little bit so you can get that quite nicely out of the way. To be honest, you can probably spend a little bit of time getting a bit better, But that holds it nicely out of the way, so you're going to have nice views, which is what you want from this style of bivvy. Yeah, decent amount of mesh and headspace there. On a warm evening, you've got a lot of airflow, but it's only going to take a few seconds if it started raining to pull that down and be nice and waterproof. So as you can see behind me, there's a second little toggle. So the inner mesh, the bug sheet, you can just hook that out of the way in the same way and just have uninterrupted views from the front of the bivvy bag, which is really nice. It is pretty spacious in here. I'm about 5'11". I fit in absolutely fine. My feet aren't at the bottom actually. I can probably move down even further. And if you're sleeping like this, you'd have a bit of room at the front for bits and pieces, or you could shovel your bag right down to the bottom and have your head further up. But yeah, there's enough room, enough height to move around, just enough height to sort of get changed without breaking your back too much. But obviously it is what it is. It is a low slung bivvy bag essentially, although it's got like slight hints of being just slightly more than a bivvy bag. It's definitely heavier than a lot of bivvy bags, but you get a lot more structure, shape, and you do get decent space. So again, you know, it's all a trade-off, so it's ever what suits your needs the most. The ground sheet does feel really good quality. Again, it's all seam sealed, and the seam sealing does look really neat. Obviously, I've probably gone for about 30 tents in the last year and a few little bivvy bags and bits and pieces. And the quality of this does look really good. The seam sealing just looks really, really neat. All the stitching looks perfect. Obviously, this is second hand, but I don't think the guy used it very much. He just didn't get on with the whole bivvy bag concept. I think he went for a proper tent afterwards. But it does all feel really good quality. You've got YKK zips as well, and you've got the nice aluminium pegging points and stuff, a decent aluminium pole. So yeah, it's actually a really good bivvy bag. So 1.24 kilos is definitely on the heavy side for something like this. There are probably tents of an equivalent weight or just a little bit more, which would give you a load more space and a completely different camping experience. But this does pack away really small. It should be pretty good in bad weather because it's so low slung, and does offer a really small pack size. So £115, you're probably getting a pretty lightweight, pretty solid bivvy bag for that money. Bivvy bags around that price are probably going to be unstructured. You're not going to have the hoop pole. You might have lower ratings, but they will probably be lighter than this one. In terms of the actual interior measurements, I'll pop them up on screen now so you can have a good look at them. But yeah, it feels pretty generous to me. You should be able to get a really good size sleep mat in here as well. So again, you don't have to compromise too much on your gear. So if you've got a fairly standard size sleep mat, you're not going to have any problem getting into this bivvy. In terms of whether it's good value for money or not, £115 to me seems a fair price. But obviously it's a Go Outdoors brand, so you'll be able to find it in Go Outdoors, Millets, Blacks, other places. So if you've got it on sale for less than £100, I think you are getting a really well made, really solid, decent spec bit of equipment. And albeit it's slightly on the heavy side for a bivvy, but you do get a lot of good features and you do get a reasonable price for that. The other benefit with the retail price of around £115 is that when you do find it secondhand, it is going to be significantly less than that. So if you can get it for 50, 60 quid, you would get a really good deal, I think. If you can get it for what I got it for, £35, I think it's an absolute steal, and I'm really looking forward to using it. So I've obviously got the Outdoor Research Helium Bivvy, which is about 500 grams. So significantly lighter than this, but a very different kind of bivvy bag, very different kind of experience. So I'm looking forward to trying them both, and we'll just really be able to see whether this kind of extra weight is worth carrying over something as light as that. But obviously this is better value for money when you buy it new. Well, I don't think there's really anything more to say about this. It's a single skinned bivvy, single hoop, but a bit of structure added by the little poles at each corner. It's really easy to put up. Being single skin, you can put up in the rain without too many problems. You can get it nice and quick. So yeah, decent little bit of kit, absolute bargain for 35 quid. I'm looking forward to taking out for a wild camp. So obviously if you want to catch up with me on that wild camp, then do subscribe to the channel. I'll hopefully take it out in the next couple of months. I've got a bit of a backlog at the moment of new used tents to try out. But I'm certainly looking forward to taking this one out on perhaps a really decent hike because it doesn't weigh very much. Anyway, if you've made it this far, huge thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.